right, everybody, welcome back. This is the Dr. Simonds Ask Me Anything Facebook Live event.
It's been a while, but we didn't forget
Monday,
what we're doing.
October the 2nd. Look, we've been really busy. We've had to cancel a few of these for various reasons, and we may have to cancel some more. So I'll just start the show by saying, before I go any further with the introductions, that as we go here into the fall, watch your emails for announcements about when we'll do the show. We probably aren't going to be able to do them every 2 weeks because of the schedule has been absolutely insane, and to be able to see all of you and plan everything correctly, we've had to cancel a few of these, so we may have to cancel some more. So I'm Dr. Simonds. This is Michelle Kennedy, nurse practitioner extraordinaire in obesity medicine.
Thank you.
And for those of you who don't know us, there's the introduction. We're answering your questions about weight loss. So some of these were sent in for previous shows, and we're trying to address those. And
yes,
we're going to do our best to address them.
Yes, thank you for sending in your questions, Sil. Thank you for our loyal patrons who are going to be here live today. Remember, if you're watching this and it's recorded, we have so many recordings on our Facebook page and our YouTube site and our website. So even if we're not doing them live, there are a lot to go back and find. And we even broke them down on YouTube for specific questions. So if you don't want to have to watch a whole show, but there's one specific thing you want addressed, we broke it out so you can watch it in little snippets.
Yeah, that's right. We're going to give it away a $25 gift card today
Yes.
for those of you who are watching live. To enter to win the gift card, Michelle can tell you what you have to do.
Yes, we're going to ask you to do two things. We're going to ask you to comment #SimonsAMA as well as like this video. You will be entered to win today if you're watching live right now for that Target gift card. So please do. And if any comments and questions you want to share while you're here live, please do. Otherwise, we're going to jump into our sheet of questions here. Ready?
Yes. All right. So we're going to start with Charlie. I happen to know Charlie really well, and this was a question sent for a previous show, and I can attest to the fact that Charlie has come and gone to Ireland. So we're going to answer this question anyway because it was a good question. But Charlie says, I leave for a 7-day golfing trip in Ireland with 28 guys. We're going to walk 6 courses. They do that over there. Okay. We're Americans. We're lazy. We ride a golf course. They actually walk the golf course like real golfers. Okay. So while we're walking 6 courses, all we'll be eating is potatoes and drinking Guinness. What's a keto guy to do?
It's a great question.
Yeah. So this is really, for me, for those of you who don't golf, a trip to Ireland or Scotland to play golf is like this. It's like a lifetime event for golfers.
You don't say no just because you're on a keto diet.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. So, and Charlie's probably live on here. And I
He
don't,
is.
this
Hey,
is,
Charlie.
this is, Charlie, this is one scenario where, you can take stuff with you and this, that, and the other, but when in Rome, man, you got to do what the Romans do. And if I go on a 7-day trip to Ireland or to Scotland to play these golf courses, I'm going to act like the locals act and just roll with it. When I come back, the key is to buckle down when you come back.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's right.
Absolutely. Yeah. Welcome, Michelle, as well. And I think this really is a key for a lot of folks, especially with us coming into the holidays as well, right? When you have control over the quality, what it is you're eating, then that is what you're going to prioritize control over. When you do not, as in Charlie's scenario, or as in a lot of our scenarios when we're going to social events or traveling or whatnot, at that point, if you cannot control the quality as well as you would like, you then have to control the quantity. Okay, so even if you can't eat anything but potatoes and Guinness, hopefully a little corned beef in there somewhere, you just don't overeat it. You don't overdrink, you don't overeat. You can indulge, but do not overindulge, right? So that's really, really important. And it's always good to kind of go back to the golden rules. If you are not hungry, do not eat. And when you are satisfied, stop eating.
Yes.
Regardless of what it is that is in front of you, okay?
Yes, that is correct.
I hope you had a wonderful time, Charlie.
Yeah.
I bet that was awesome.
Yeah.
The countryside.
Yeah, he had a
is
great time.
Gorgeous.
He got a little sick when he was over there, but he just weathered right on through it.
Impressive.
Yes.
Impressive.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll move on to Miss Sharon. My cholesterol is slightly elevated. How do I eat a low carb diet and still be aware of my cholesterol concerns? We get this question a lot, and it is a very good question because I think we've been told for a very long time that the cholesterol that we eat and the fat that we eat is the way our blood level cholesterols go up. And that blood level is what they test when they draw and they say, oh, your cholesterol is a little high, you got to cut fat out of your diet. Unfortunately, that is based on an old hypothesis that the fat we eat is what causes our cholesterol levels to go up.
Correct.
That has been debunked for a long time. However, it takes a long time for modern medicine to kind of catch up on recommendations. So what you'll hear from us is different, but it is actually the truth. It is not the cholesterol in the egg yolk. It is not the fat in the beef that is causing your cholesterol levels to be elevated. And even in some scenarios, which can happen, where the LDL, which is one thing that they test, they actually calculate it, they don't test it directly usually, that can go up. But all the other positive things, like a drop in blood sugar, happen, a reduction in waist circumference, right, an improvement in body composition, which reduce your risk for heart disease, also happen.
Yeah, that's right. So, I mean, I think that to use the word cholesterol it's so general. It doesn't tell you anything. So if you look at data from the world's largest heart study, which is the Framingham Heart Study, half the people who had heart attacks had normal cholesterols. Okay? Half. The other half had abnormal cholesterols. All right. So looking at your total cholesterol and trying to make some clinical decision about what to do is as useless as breast tissue on a boar hog, as I always say. Okay. It absolutely is of no use. So I wouldn't let anybody tell you because of a total cholesterol figure that you should or shouldn't do X, Y, or Z. Okay. It's just not the right thing. Michelle makes a good point about the LDL. That the LDL is presumably the bad particles that we're worried about, okay? And the rest of the world, by the way, does not always view it this way. So this is a United States viewpoint, and it is in our country where they've developed the most profitable drugs in the history of medicine to lower this LDL. You can take from that what you want. I'm just saying that's the truth, okay? And so when you actually measure the LDL is like saying autos. I could say automobile or auto. It doesn't tell me anything about the kind of car that you have. I got over here to the office in one today. Okay, it's different than the one that Michelle drove, different than the one the producer drove, different than the other stuff people are driving. Okay, so the LDL spans a spectrum of particle sizes. And these particles, only the very smallest of these particles, these are the ones that can kind of get inside the walls of your coronary arteries and form inflammatory plaque, which can then result in a problem, okay, for you. Now, what we know from multiple studies now is that when people dramatically reduce the risk of the consumption of refined carbohydrate in their diet, they have a lot less of these small particles.
Go from small, dense,
yes,
to big and fluffy.
That's it. The big ones think they're like school buses and big trucks. They can't get in the little junctions between the cells that line the wall of your arteries. They're too big. Okay, the little small ones can. Okay, so what we know is about people who eat a lot of sugar and flour and stuff, they make those small particles. All right, they make those small particles. But when you look at people who go on a rigorously low carb diet and they're eating a lot of fat and even saturated fat, they convert those small particles to much bigger particles, right? So just knowing the LDL doesn't tell you, right? You want to look at these other factors. And so I think to just have a regular cholesterol panel run and have someone tell you, oh, you can't eat a low carb diet, baloney, okay? Baloney. I don't buy it. There's way more to it than that. So I feel confident. I know I do my own. You can actually, for those of you who don't know, you can go to LabCorp, to their website. LabCorp on Demand is what it's called. And you can order your own labs at a fairly inexpensive price. And you don't have to have me as a physician order it for you. Okay. And you can get this kind of testing done. And I do it on myself. Okay. So I know in response to eating a very low carbohydrate diet, what my labs do. I've seen it, and I follow it pretty closely. And so if you want assurances about this sort of thing, you can do it for yourself. You can even do, in addition to that, lifeline screening, which will look for plaque buildup in your arteries. Okay, so you have a blood test now that shows everything's going in the right direction because you ate a low carb diet, and then you can get the plaque screening done at a place like Lifeline Screening or at Kraft Body Scan over here on Blue Ridge, just off Blue Ridge Road in Raleigh. Okay, places like that will do like a coronary artery calcium score on you, and they'll look for that. They'll do a special CT scan to look for plaque buildup in your arteries, right? So you can confirm these things, not just by what I say. If you want to get aggressive about it, test it for yourself, you can. Don't let people talk you out of doing a low carb diet. America has a problem, okay? And it's not that we ate too much fat and protein. We ate too many carbohydrates, and that's the name of the game right there. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So thank you for watching. Dr. Simonds Ask Me Anything Facebook Live show. Everyone who's sending their questions, we are answering them at live questions as well, which I will get to in just a second, Michelle. I want to remind y'all that we are giving away a Target gift card. So if you have yet to comment hashtag SimonsAMA and like this video, please do, because in about 15 minutes, we're going to draw a winner. So far, I think we have just a couple of entries. So Michelle, I'm going to read you off the screen. How are you to be a patient there for several years? It has been about 2 years ago since I've been there. Would I be considered a new patient, or would I fall under an established patient when making an appointment? You would still be an established patient, Michelle. You do not have to do all the new stuff over again. The cost is just as if you were a regular follow-up and you had been here last month. Since it has been 2 years, we will have just a little bit of update forms, not the extensive ones that you first filled out, but just an update form, which we can give you when you get here. It doesn't take long to fill out. So please give us a call. Either the Raleigh or the Durham office. We're open in both all week. And we can get you back in, okay? Thank you for joining us and for asking that. I think a lot of people are curious. Oh, it's been so long. Can I just come back? And the answer is yes. We make it as easy as possible for you to just come back. All right. So Sharon, name of the game is, I wouldn't worry about your cholesterol, but if you have specific concerns, ask us. We are happy to look at your lab work and explain to you why. We probably will have a different explanation of what those numbers mean versus what your primary care may have told you, okay? All right. Moving on to Jillian. Is eating high protein without strength training exercise enough to preserve muscle mass? Yes, actually, there is good research to support this. They have done studies where individuals did no exercise, but they ate 30 grams of protein at least 3 times a day. And not only did some of them just preserve, some of them actually put on lean mass.
Through muscle protein synthesis, which you can trigger that process by eating 30 grams of protein 3 times a day. That keeps your lean mass repaired and in good order.
Yes.
And it's a good goal to shoot for.
Absolutely.
And, it kind of goes back to the last question. You know, I made a remark that it's not that we eat too much fat or Americans don't overeat protein.
No.
And don't let people tell you, oh, you're going to have these problems if you eat too much bread protein. Baloney. Okay, we eat too many carbohydrates. We have a carbohydrate-rich diet that is poor in protein, and it needs to be the other way around. You need to have a protein-rich diet that has restricted carbohydrates. Okay. Yeah. And so, yes, if you eat enough protein, now I'll say this: you should exercise. I mean,
absolutely,
for other health reasons. I mean, it really is good for things like bone density and all of that sort of thing. If you do this resistance training, okay, and agility and strength and all that.
Bone density for us women, very important.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, and it still helps your metabolic health. You utilize glucose better. Yes. Yeah, and your blood pressure is lower, things like that. So it's worth doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Absolutely. And Jillian, too, I want to touch on, I talk to my patients about this a lot. Strength training doesn't mean you have to be in a gym for 30 to 60 minutes a day. You can do body weight exercises at home.
Absolutely.
Right? When you get back from a walk, do a couple of squats. You can get some exercise bands. You can sprinkle it in throughout the day. I think we have been trained to think that exercise means this scheduled lump of time that many of us don't have in our days to give anyway at a place that you have to pay a bunch of money.
Yes, that's right.
That's not exercise. That's not fitness.
That's not the way our ancestors did it.
No, not
it was
at
just
all.
part of their daily routine. So it's sprinkled throughout the day.
Exactly. They lifted things. They walked a lot. Right. They weren't just sitting.
Yeah.
for long periods of time. So if you need any tips or tricks, let us know. And we have some information on our website, some blogs about fitness, and we even keep in our office some like how to use an exercise ball, how to use exercise bands. So you can just start to kind of familiarize yourself with the different options to become stronger and fitter. Thank you for that question, and welcome Sandy and Jennifer and Michelle. You're welcome. Thank you for the question. Sheena, how much weight fluctuation is normal? I'm up 3 pounds even though I weighed myself the same time after using the bathroom. I say 3 pounds is well within normal. I usually say there's about a 5 pound fluctuation, again, especially for females, because if you're still cycling, there's going to be hormonal changes throughout the month that are going to change water retention. The trick is if it keeps fluctuating in the upward direction, right?
Yes.
That's what we're concerned about, right? 2 pounds up and then 3 pounds up and then 2 pounds up. Yeah, those are all within 5 pounds of each other. But you got to zoom out and look at the big picture. If it is trending in the upward direction, that is not okay. Now we need to do something to change.
Yeah, that's right. I totally agree with Michelle. And Sheena, I like your name.
Yeah.
It's a line in one of my favorite songs. So I've always liked this name.
What song is that?
Funky Cold Medina by Tony Lowe. Yes.
Great name.
Yes.
Great name.
Yes. Yeah. This had nothing to do with the Ask Me Anything Facebook Live stuff today, but I just thought I'd make that comment. It makes me smile every time I see this thing.
Yeah.
And it's actually not a country song.
Surprisingly.
Yeah.
Surprisingly.
See, I'm a Renaissance man. I listen to a little bit of everything.
And I will say, this is a good question to touch on. Should we be weighing every day? How often should we be weighing? When should we be weighing? So many people do benefit from daily weights. And if you're going to weigh daily, if you're going to weigh at all, really the best way to do it is as soon as you wake up in either no clothing or the same light clothing each time, after you use the restroom and before you eat or drink anything. All right.
Yes.
It's just a constant that you want to keep, because we can gain, and I have gained 5 full pounds in the same morning to night, right? If I waited morning
absolutely.
And then at night, if I didn't go to the bathroom, if I was retaining fluid, like whatever, it can happen in a 12-hour period. It can happen. And that does not mean that it's 5 pounds of fat. It's just normal water and bowel and bladder content fluctuation. But for those of you who feel like daily weights could really get into your head and be a negative thing, then you either only weigh when you're here with us in a safe zone at your visits once a month, or you weigh once a week. And I typically recommend Wednesdays because you're far enough from the weekend on either side.
That's right. Okay. Joey says, I recently went on Zoloft and gained several pounds. I've been happier and working out, but I've been eating more. What are some strategies for losing weight on Zoloft? Well, I'm kind of surprised. This really typically happens with other antidepressants and not so much with Zoloft, but this can, Joey's experience goes to show you that people aren't robots, they're people.
Yeah.
And that even though it doesn't happen with a lot of people, it does happen to some people. So this is why you want to come see us, Joey, because we to try to prevent that weight gain, we use medications, for example. You want to buckle down on those carbohydrates, and you really want to get them low. And then, in many cases, you need medicine to help you do that. We've got things that can help you that will prevent this weight gain and help you lose. And maybe you don't lose as fast as you normally lose.
Right.
But if you're still losing, that's good, right? So this is true of a lot of medications. We call these weight positive medications. And you see them in particular with any of these kind of medications that work on your central nervous system, like psychiatric medications. They're antidepressants, anti-anxiety things, antipsychotics. They're famous for causing this sort of thing. And so, taking the kind of medication that we would prescribe here, things like phentermine and metformin, or things like Wegovy, Ozempic, and Mounjaro, those sorts of things, and taking them in combination really gives you the upper hand on this sort of thing. Mm-hmm. But you still have to approach it with a sense of strategery, if you will. Like, I'm going to eat a certain way because I know I'm taking something that's going to work against me. Mm-hmm. So I got to be careful about what I do. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of important to have that mindset.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we do a metabolic assessment when you're here, as a new patient. And if you tell us, even as an established patient, like, hey, I got put on this or that, but by another medical provider, we will be able to tell you right away, hey, that medication may make it more difficult for you to lose weight. It may make it easier for you to gain weight. And we say may again, because Dr. Simonds said it's very variable. Right? We are not computers. We are not bomb calorimeters. We cannot apply that sort of logic of, well, if that happened there, then it must happen to you. No, it may or may not, but there are still things that we can do to try to protect you if that is a risk. Again, as you said, Zoloft is kind of more of a middle of the road one. There are some that are far more likely to cause weight gain, and some that are less likely. But it does absolutely depend on the person. And Joey, we have to consider too, if you are working out a lot more, could you be putting on some muscle mass potentially? And that's also something we would talk about and do a body composition weight when you're here, so we could see, are you actually putting on lean mass, right? Because if you're eating more, but it's more protein, right, and it's still appropriate calories, then that is absolutely ideal, right? That's what we want. We want to lose fat and build muscle. But I'm glad to hear that you're happier and you're working out and that it's going better for you. Just let us guide you if you're still having some trouble. That's what we're here for, okay?
Yeah, that's right.
All
right. So the last question is from Trina. And Trina says, I'm dropping clothing sizes, but not weight. What is going on and should I be concerned? Okay.
This is common.
Yes.
Really common. I promise you are not alone, Trina. We have a lot of patients who, speaking to the last question, Joey's question, that maybe their body composition changes and things fit better, especially around the waist, right? A lot of people say that. But the weight doesn't actually translate to weight lost, even though their clothes fit better. What's usually going on is, again, you're either putting on lean mass or retaining some water, and it's hiding the actual fat loss that your body is going through to make those clothes fit better.
Yes. Yeah. I think body composition is important. And, when you start talking about your metabolic health, your blood sugar, your lipids, your blood pressure, your inflammatory markers, things like that, you don't have to think of that in terms of just a weight. You want to kind of think about those things in terms of your body composition. And if you have a bunch of white adipose tissue, which is the fat around your organs that causes you to have a bigger belly, you want to lose that. And that, you can actually convert that fat to other types of fat. Brown fat is the one that's good for you. And this is found in your subcutaneous fat here, so if I pinch up on my arm, that's subcutaneous fat right there that I'm pinching up, okay? And so that kind of fat is not bad for you. And you can actually convert the white to the brown by diet and exercise and a few other factors, okay? And so we know this takes place. We also know about the muscle building process, right? Well, both of these are good things. And if your habits are taking you there, what you're going to notice is my waistline goes down and the parts of my body that I want to look more athletic. And this is where your weight gain comes, or lack of weight change comes from, okay? You're basically replacing one type of unhealthy tissue with a type of healthy tissue. And this is a good thing, not a bad thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And sometimes, it does get to the point where we will recognize it potentially as a plateau, right? So if at first things were fitting better and then it's kind of just, okay, nothing's really happened. It's been 4 weeks, it's been 6 weeks, it's been 8 weeks. Then we may say, hey, maybe this is a plateau, right? And a plateau is when your body decides to fight back in a manner that all the things that you were doing that were successfully helping you lose weight are now only enough to help you maintain weight. Doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. It just means we need to do something different because the body likes to defend higher body weights, and it does so very well. Just like it defends our body temperature staying in a certain range, our heart rate staying in a certain range. Like we have a lot of mechanisms that keep us in tight ranges for things. Unfortunately, for those of us trying to lose weight, our weight falls into that category. Our body wants it in a range that we may not want it. And if we try to push it out of that range in that downward direction, a defense system will happen and our hormones will change in a way that will try to get our weight to at least stop going or even go back up. So if that starts happening, Trina, that's when we become very, very valuable as medical providers to you, because we can assist you with the reasons why it's happening. So you know it's not your fault, you're not doing anything wrong. And we provide medication to help fight back, because it is an uphill battle.
Yeah, correct.
It's very frustrating, very frustrating. But we are absolutely here to help. And the medications that we use here are everything that the FDA has approved for weight loss, in addition to off-label uses for medications that are safe and effective and make sense for our patients. And Dr. Simonds mentioned a lot of times we'll use them in combination. We even have a pharmacy here in our practice because many of our patients do require medication as part of their treatment plan.
Yeah, that's correct.
That's why we're here.
Yes, that is right.
That's why we're here.
Okay.
We have a winner for the gift card. Thank you for everyone who entered, but the $25 Target gift card goes to Jennifer Whitaker Garrett. Yay!
Jennifer.
Way to go. We
Yeah.
are going to message you on Facebook, okay, to be able to get you that gift card. So stay tuned for that. Everyone that joined us, thank you so much for being here. Join us again.
Watch the emails for our next
Yes.
Ask Me Anything Facebook Live.
Yes.
Until then, y'all take care. We'll see you at the office.